Hey everybody, welcome back to this year's Science channel and welcome to a new video. First things first, I gotta say, please excuse my hair. It is way past wash day for me. If you watched last week's video, which is my June reading journal, you will have known that I have been on a pre-recording game because I am going to be gone for the last half of June and the first half of July, so I've got a lot of videos to pre-record and like, hair's just not the priority right now, so let's just ignore it and get on with the video. So today we're doing the mid-year book freak out tag. For some reason I thought that I had already done this video last year, but then I remembered that I started my booktube channel last year in the summer, so I actually was already past the mid-year of 2019, so here we are for 2020. 2020 so far has not been the best reading year for me. I'm really behind on my Goodreads TBR. It's just been a crazy year, so I'm going to try my best to answer these questions quickly and not say the same book multiple times, but we're gonna see. So the first question in this tag is, what is the best book that you have read of 2020? And honestly, I cannot decide between these two books, so I gotta say two. I'm going to say Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith and The Lucky Ones by Liz Lawson. I have reviews of both of those books on my blog if you want to know why I love them so much. They are just such great contemporaries, really good representation and conversations in each book, and I highly recommend that you check them out. The next question of this tag is the best sequel that you have read in 2020. And honestly, I haven't actually read a sequel of a series in 2020. I have actually read like the finale of a series, Obsidio from the like Illuminae Files trilogy. I read that in January. That was a long time ago, and honestly, because that was the only one that kind of counts, but it was also just a really good ending of that series. So if you haven't read the Illuminae Files, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what planet you're on, but you need to go read it because it's great. So question number 3 is new releases that you haven't read yet but you want to. And honestly, this is the only one that I own, but I have a whole blog post of like summer anticipated releases that went up a couple months ago maybe. So if you want to check that out, I have more books that I could be talking about in that post. But the one that I have here, and I don't even know if this counts as a new release anymore, maybe I'm just late, but it's Girls of Storm and Shadow. I was going to do a reading vlog for it this month. Not gonna get to it at this point, but I still want to read this book. I just can't wait to see what we do with their story, and I said this in a previous video of mine, but I'm also very scared because Natasha Nung's tweets about this series scare me, so I don't know what happens. Don't spoil it, but yeah. The next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I have to give this one to Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. I read the synopsis of this book a while ago, and I have it on my TBR, and it is set to be published September 1st, 2020, so I am very excited to read that. Next question is the biggest disappointment of 2020 in a book form, and I am so sad to say this because I wanted to love this book and I know a lot of people do, so it's probably a controversial opinion, but I have to give this one to The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow. I just didn't like this book. I have a review for it on my blog if you want to know why, but I don't know. I read it when I was in Costa Rica last winter, and it just it wasn't great. I didn't have a good time reading it, and yeah, if you want to know why, I have a review. I'm sorry. The next question is the biggest surprise book that you read this year, and definitely I have to give this one to Sisters of the Perilous Heart by Sandra L. Vasher. I kind of went into this book a little bit blind. It was my first book that I reviewed from Book Sirens. Book Sirens, if you don't know, is kind of like a platform similar to NetGalley and Eldonwise where you can request arcs and review them for authors, and it was the first one. They don't really have a lot of like popular titles on that platform, but they do have some hidden gems, and Sisters of the Perilous Heart was definitely one of them. Again, I have a full review on my blog if you want to know why. The next question is favorite new author from this year, and I definitely have to give this one to Astrid Schuldt with her book The Vanishing Deep. I read this through Penguin Teen, #PenguinTeenPartner, and I love that book. It took a turn that I kind of didn't want it to, so at the end I was like, oh, that's disappointing, but I definitely vibe with her writing style and just her personality and her characters, so I will definitely be picking up her other books that she has published. Like, I still haven't read Four Dead Queens, I don't know what's wrong with me, and new books that she's coming out with, but she's definitely like a new favorite author of mine from this year. Alright, so I'm gonna do a little cheating here, and I'm gonna answer 2 questions in one. Questions 8 and 9 of this tag is newest fictional crush and newest favorite character. Okay, so I have to give both of these to Aaron from Don't Read the Comments. I know I said I wasn't going to like repeat books, but I love this book, okay? Definitely one of my favorite books of 2020 that I have read so far, and he is just so kind and genuine and just like perfect boyfriend material for Divya. I loved him. I loved his character. I loved his character development, and just like Eric Smith did a beautiful job with the male character there. Love him. Read this book, please. Okay, so this one's a little bit of a deeper answer, but the next question is book that made you cry, and I have to give this one to This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jerkins. This book like hit me real hard this year. I read it for Black History Month, and it's about just like colorism, racism as a like Black woman in America, and just like I get emotional thinking about it, but just like seeing somebody else put my experiences into words and like know that like, you know, this is sadly a universal experience of Black women in America, and it's not just like me being like crazy or anything. It was a really emotional. I definitely had moments where I like teared up and cried reading this book, so it's a little bit of a deeper answer, but I love this book. If you're looking for a book that's really important, and if you want to know how racism and colorism looks like first-hand perspective from a Black author, please read this book. Like, please read this book. It's really, really fantastic. Alright, I'm also going to do a little bit of cheating for the next two questions of this tag. So the next two questions are a book that made you happy and the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I have to give both of these answers to A Song Below Water. I buddy read this with Jury. Thank you so much, Jury, for putting up with me this month. This book was just really interesting, and it had an interesting dynamic. I love the Black girl representation. I don't have a full review written yet. I should have from this previous Thursday, but a girl's struggling, okay? My full review will be up next Thursday. That'll be the 25th, so if you want to stick around and figure out why I love this book so much, check back in the description. I'll paste the link when I'm done and it's up. But I love this book. You'll find out more about why I loved it and why it made me happy, and it's just a beautiful cover too. Like, do you see this cover? Do you see it? Black girl magic, and also underwater. Like, I love water. I am a water sign, so this book just spoke to my heart, you know, as far as like representation and also graphic design. And the last question of this tag is books that you need to read by the end of the year, and the simple answer to that is a whole bunch, but a longer answer to that is definitely Girls of Storm and Shadow, since I own it, and also I need to read Unravel the Dust because I pre-ordered it and it should be coming next month, so that's exciting. That book, and also The Crow Writer because I also pre-ordered that book and that'll be coming next month as well. So those are just books that I have anticipated, that I have bought and I will own in my possession and will need to read by the end of the year, as well as any other books that are sitting on this bookshelf unread. You know, I told you I'm struggling in 2020, let me just tell you, so we're gonna see where I am by December, okay? Just give me the summer, maybe we'll turn things around here. Anyway, that's it for this tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my answers. Let me know some answers to the questions that you have below, or link me your videos, or let me know if you've done this tag so I can watch some of yours. And without further ado, I will see you all on the channel next Sunday. Bye everybody!